Hello dear viewer, dear listener, my name is Mumpulu Kiluruma Mohobe. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Mohobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. As always, we bring exciting, impactful and life-changing information. This time I brought a young, dynamic entrepreneur. My guest is Mr. Donato, who's going to share on the subject of vision and vision outlook. Angelo Donato, to be exact.
Yes.
Could you please introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them your background and what you do?
All right. Thank you, first of all, Mr. Mohobe, for having me as part of this. My name is Angelo Donato Ilagan, as Mr. Mohobe has expressed. I'm the CEO and founder of Global Education Hub, of which its main mandate or vision is to revolutionize the educational sector, and the way in which we want to do that is by building the 21st century learner. So my background right now, the project is at a stage where we are relaunching, and we have launched the core concept of the product itself in 7 government schools. So we're relaunching very soon to help students nationwide so they could get access to academic videos and also revision notes and revision past papers. Also, besides that, the other side of the product or service has to do with to ease enrollment to career guidance, and also allowing the student, to retrieve advice and also a lot of information from those who have been successful in particular fields that they might want to pursue or wish to pursue. Yes.
When you say a 21st century learner, are you referring to a learner in a school, or you mean a learner in general?
I think it has to do with a learner in general. Mm-hmm. Yes, because we find that learning comes in different forms and formats, but our particular area of focus right now has to do with obviously those who are in school.
Okay. Yes, one of the things we want to start with is vision. You say it's important for the youth to know
Yes.
their vision. My question is, what is your vision and why is vision important?
My vision is to have an impact in lives of people in the various spheres that we find: spiritually, academically, financially, emotionally. I just have a passion of seeing the lives of people in a better state. That's what my vision is. So if I have realized a problem within a specific sector that has to do with education, I would go forth and find out how I could solve out that problem and see how I could better the lives of students through improving their academic performance. The other question you asked, sir, was the importance
of vision.
It is very critical as a young man or woman to understand why are you doing what you're doing. Are you just doing it because you had found out that your friend is doing selling a similar kind of product or service, or you've just seen him being successful in that field? That does not mean that you should also pursue that field. So it's very important for you to know yourself, who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. And in business, it's important to have a vision, because if you have a vision, then you're driven by it. Regardless of how many challenges you may face, then you'd always manage to overcome.
Okay. You say it's important for people to understand their uncommon vision.
Uncommon vision.
Why uncommon?
Why uncommon? An uncommon vision has uncommon challenges. We normally find, I give a very good example about myself. I started Global Education Hub it's been 5 years now. The time I started it, I was the first person in the field to come up with such an idea, and I faced a lot of critiques that it's too early. I faced a lot of discouragement, people saying that, your vision, I don't think...
Naysayers and negative people.
Yes, sir. Yes, negative. I do wish that any normal person, looking at the reality of things by then, would say that it's too early for such a product to be implemented. But now coming into the state at which, after COVID-19, looking at the stage at which we are at, it's really usable now, and it's very high in demand. So that is why it's very critical for you to...
Okay. You say it's important to know how to sell and to know how to market your vision.
Your vision.
Could you like to explain that? I want you to explain it from the point of view of an average student, an average Motswana.
An average Motswana. All right, sir. In simple terms, if you have a vision or an idea, of how you could solve any basic problem of any Motswana. You should be able to convince or persuade someone on why you think that idea would work. If you're not able to do that, then chances are that you might face challenges with funding, and you also might face challenges of people having to believe in you and believe in your vision. So it's also very critical to have the ability to sell and persuade, give people the feel of where you're going and what is it that you want to accomplish at the end of the day, so that you could also have people that support you and that grow you as,
So how do you acquire that skill?
The skill of persuasion and selling comes with practice. Yes, it comes with practice. I started selling at the age of 13. Started selling at the age of 13. I started with sweets, I started with t-shirts, basic stuff that you would find, pens, pencils, rubbers. So if I normally tell an entrepreneur that if you cannot sell something as simple as a pen to me, then I think you should go back and
learn the skills.
Yes.
I hope you made some money doing that.
A lot.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And then you say it's important to outwork, out-strategize, and to outgrow.
Yes, sir. So
it looks like you're out everything.
yes, sir. It's having a vision, having an idea that you'd want to implement as an entrepreneur is just 10% of your work. So what you want to do is make sure that the work you put in is more than your competitors. The strategies that you have
I've read
in place,
somewhere that success is 5% inspiration and 90% perspiration.
Perspiration.
So
yes, sir.
it's more work than anything else.
It's more work execution. I think one of the challenges we have normally when we deal with entrepreneurs is one of the challenges we have as entrepreneurs is procrastination. You know, so yeah, it's very vital that execution, hard work.
How do you overcome that challenge of procrastination? It bedevils just about everybody.
As soon as you think of something, jot it down. Jot it down, write it down, and if that thing that you have to do has to do with calling someone, do it immediately. Yes, it's do it right there, right now.
Yeah.
You know, just like how we say that in the Nike brand puts it.
Ooh?
Just do it.
Yeah.
You know,
the Nike advert or promotion.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes. So I believe that it's just do it immediately after you have seen it, or at least write it down somewhere. Yeah. On your diary where you could later.
I think what you're saying is that if you can't execute and do it on the spot, such as a phone call, then write it down.
And write it down. Yes.
That way you're going to follow it up.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you do that?
Yes, sir. I do. Definitely.
Okay. You say it's important to have a mentor. That's point number 5. What's the importance of mentorship and who's your mentor?
Yes. I have various mentors. I would say that a mentor is someone that you look up to, someone who gives you advice. Someone that you would, my main particular advice is to look for a mentor in your particular industry. We are facing a challenge of having mentors who haven't been successful in particular industries, and now we have a challenge of he does not know the challenges you'd face. He does not know the specific knowledge and skills that you would need to pursue that vision. So it's very ideal and critical that yes, you get a mentor. So in terms of mentorship, a lot of guys that I follow, the likes of Elon Musk, the plenty. I could mention a lot.
Well, mention a few. And what are you looking for in a mentor?
What I'm looking, a few of them I would look, Elon Musk himself, and the fact that what I look for in a mentor is guidance during hard times. Yes.
And why Elon Musk? What's so special about him for you?
Elon Musk is a person who has who has done, I think, what seemed to be impossible to many people. So he inspires me a lot, and he's someone I see as a role model as well.
Does he sponsor you through the books he's written, or do you follow him in a podcast or something?
It's mostly through the projects he has done. One thing that inspires me from him is his work ethic. You know, where he just sleeps at his office and wakes up and gets back to work. And yes, so that's the part that I've seen from him. And
you have adopted that work ethic.
Yes, sir. And I think the key thing is, for him, it's not about the money. It's vision. Like when we started this session, that for him, it's more about the vision. Have I accomplished what I was supposed to accomplish? Has it impacted a specific customer, or how it was supposed to impact the customer? Yes.
And for you, is it about money?
No, it isn't.
Why not?
It isn't about money because at this point, I've had many opportunities to sell out Global Education Hub. I've had many opportunities of people trying to buy intellectual property. of the idea, and over the past
Taking
5
it over
years,
from you or buying a percentage of your equity?
taking it over.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was good. I'm talking about millions. 2.5 million. We have I had an offer of 1.7 million, and I rejected all of that because I felt like I would leave unfulfilled. The product would not go to the point where I want it to be. Yes.
All right. Just as an aside, what exactly is the product? Is it some form of e-learning?
For now, as far as global education is regarded, we have product. We could look at the application itself. Does the application satisfy the consumer? Yeah. Does it have the functionalities? Does it have I can use taste because it's not something that but does it give the consumer that feel that they're looking for? Yes.
So how do you monetize it?
Global Education Hub, so far we have through different ways. We can monetize it through advertisements. Secondly is through subscriptions. Yeah, mobile subscriptions, of which we have some already competitors that are actually doing that now. Or we could have direct payments via credit and debit cards done by a parent for the student to access.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, it's never too early to start. I think that's one of your main messages, and it's one of the messages that I liked when we were preparing for this show.
Yes.
Why do you say that it's never too early?
It's never too early because start a product right now, not because it can make money, but because you want to impact the lives of others, because you want to fulfill something in someone else's life. So what I feel is at times would have an idea or a solution, and we feel like I think this would come later on, and you'd rather start implementing it after 2, 3, 4 years, when by then a lot of people have already
taken it.
Yeah, gone into
it's
the
almost
industry.
like if an idea comes, it floats somewhere in the universe or in the atmosphere.
In the atmosphere, yes.
And then it comes to you first, and if you don't take it,
yes,
it passes to somebody else.
Passes to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So why do you say people who always saying, I'm not old enough, I don't have enough money, I'm not ready, my mother said it's not so good for me at the moment? What do you say to such people?
To such people, it's all about getting started. Start with what you have, and money will follow you. When you follow your passion, when you follow that vision, when you follow that idea, when you implement it, the money will follow. You would find people who would come and actually see and want to fund it.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage people that when you start an idea, it's not every time you'd find that you have everything, that you'd need to start up the business. Even as far as vision is concerned, you'd get more clarity as you develop, and even more byproducts that you'd want to add into that idea that you came about.
So we now want to talk about the big G, as in God.
Yes, sir.
You're a man of God, and you say you must grow yourself in God. First, tell us about your connection to God, and then explain why you make it part of your business, your business philosophy.
Yes, sir. My connection with God is, I could take it out from the biblical scripture that says, "Before I knew you, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew the plans I had for you, plans to prosper you, plans to make you succeed." That for me says a lot. When God plants a vision in your heart and a seed in your heart, or an idea, it means that He will provide for it. There is nothing that God can plant in your heart without having a plan. Obviously we will go through challenges. We'll go through, and those challenges are meant to
and setbacks.
And setbacks, yes, and to build us up, to mold us into what God would want us to be. That's to allow us to have the capacity to handle such a big vision. Because our initial plan is to extend over Southern Africa. And I must say during the past 5 years it's been hectic. I faced personal challenges, and people still come to me to this date and ask me, why is it that through all these challenges you still...
What did you say was the biggest setback or challenge?
My biggest setback and challenge was more personal fallbacks I had. I faced a lot of transitioning of loved ones, from my dad and all that. And after that, I was... You
mean they passed on?
Yes, they
Your
did.
dad and who else?
My brother.
Okay.
Yes. So I learned from that I'd still continued after that, to fight through and to find myself in God. I think the main thing is finding yourself in God, because if you don't find yourself in God, then it would be hard for you to nourish that seed that you just put inside
And how
of
do you go about doing that? Does it mean attending church more, or it means reading the Bible more? Is there a practical side to that?
Yes. God is more, just like how you'd build any relationship. So you'd find a point where I need to build a relationship with my mother, with a friend. So I'd have to give that friend or my mother more time. Same thing with God. Give him more time, be it at church, be it through time for devotion. Just have your time with God.
So how do you integrate it into your business or your business philosophy?
For me, I think I believe each and every vision is a seed. And we all have different seeds. One may be given a mango seed, one may be given an apple seed, one may be given a grape seed. The challenge we have now is trying to compare, and we expect the mango seed to grow at the same rate of that of the apple seed. So when God had planted this vision in me, I'd come to that point to understand that it's going to take years. I'm going to face uncommon challenges, and a mango seed has specific requirements, to it. How much amount of water it needs, how much amount of fertilizer it needs. So the same thing applies to an entrepreneur. Know what it is that you need to do and the vision you have, so that you know the specific needs that you would need in terms of knowledge, in terms of the wisdom you might need, in terms of the people you need to get advice from. The people who have faced common challenges.
Let's take it into finances. I want to ask you about finances. How do you duplicate, grow, some even say 10x your finances?
10x.
Yeah.
I love that philosophy. Remind me of Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
One of the people I also follow.
Yeah.
10x, duplicating your finances is very essential to an extent where there's actually a book I'm working on. It's entitled The Student Employer.
The what?
The Student Employer. What the Student Employer is all about is giving knowledge to the student or to any individual on how to multiply your finances. So the main thing is you asked how. It's first of all be willing to do whatever it takes to earn a small income. My first job was as a garden boy. I was willing to do gardening at the age of 15 after having to have tried selling.
In other words, don't look down on any job that brings money in your pocket. Because it's a stepping stone to greater things, which always is.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But anyway, I don't want to take the words away from your mouth.
Yes, sir. So it is, we are pressured by society. I remember I had a challenge of what would people say finding a person such as me doing garden work, So the how part comes in, as long as you have a substantial income coming in on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, you get that income and find a way to multiply it. So find a product that you can sell. So a good example I would give is after I started my garden job, I was earning about 750 at that time to 800. I took that and then further on bought out sandwiches. I was making sandwiches. So before I'd actually go to college in the morning, I'd make sure I'd go to 2 ministries and sell them off. So that's it gave me double the amount.
You'd start college at what time?
College at about 8.
8?
Yes.
So when will you be selling these sandwiches?
6:30.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You had a reliable customers.
Yes, so for me it's all about the selling. If you can sell, if you can persuade, give me anything or anything that you can sell, That's why we spoke about selling. So I took the sandwiches, I went to Ministry of Basic Education, Tertiary Education, because they're in one place. I thought to myself, there are 40 people in this, or if I can get 80 people and multiply that with 10 pula, that's 80 pula. So if I can just do that frequently 2-3 times a day, then I could multiply my finances, So that's the concept, and that's the how part in which you can actually multiply your finances, get an income, and find a product or service you could sell to multiply it. Yes,
that also develops your selling skills and your entrepreneurial skills.
Skills, yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so you did that for how long?
I did that for a period of 3-4 years. Yes, sir.
How profitable was it?
It was very profitable. We've actually invested over 480,000 pula in Global Education Hub, and that was from those. Yes,
so it gave you a foundation.
A foundation, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not a trust fund baby.
No, I'm not a big fan of depending. As you mentioned something very important, that the skill that you develop as you sell this is also very essential and important. And so I feel like as an entrepreneur, go out there and do as much as you can to duplicate your finances. And as you do that, you develop also the skill set that's necessary.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's talk about personality over money.
Yes, sir.
Because different types of personalities at play. We know that 4 personality types. But when you talk about personality over money, what are we talking about? Can you break it down for the viewer?
Yes, sir. When it comes to personality over money, it mainly has to do with you checking if whether you'd be able to apprehend with a person's personality when challenges are faced, when hard times are faced. So it's all about checking if whether the person's personality is, whether it's someone you would like to work with long term, even if there is no money coming in, positive cash flow within the project. So it's very critical to consider personality, character over money when specifically looking for investment and when building your team. That's because you'd face challenging times.
In other words, before you partner with anybody,
Yes.
analyze whether this is a kind of personality that I can work with.
Work with, yes.
Don't be focused just on money.
On money, yes.
Have you had any experience, unpleasant or otherwise, about that?
Yes, sir, I've had a lot of...
Can you share some of them?
Well, one of them is having to work with an individual or rather part of a team that would not understand that positive cash flow isn't coming in now. But long term would need to push certain duties and responsibilities, and there are certain things to be done so that long term we could, get the positive cash flow. So it brings us back to the point
When
of...
you say that, I read somewhere that the first 5 years, Amazon was running at a loss.
Yes.
In fact, that's why they say Bezos is about a 17% shareholder.
Yes.
He had to, he had to dilute himself
Yes.
so that he can grow the company.
The company.
So if his investors had been impatient the first 5 years,
Yes.
we wouldn't have Amazon.com today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So yeah, it's mainly we faced challenges where I faced challenges where the vision had to go through points when there was no money and people were not getting paid at some point for the work that was based. So what I initially do is when I sell the vision to the person and see from my first conversation, second conversation with them, if whether the personality is or the character.
Are you talking about angel investors, or are you talking about partners?
It's just partners, people would help me implement certain parts of the vision.
Are you talking about what is the other category? Joint venture.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, but in particular, just also dealing with your team. You'd have to work with people that would work with you even through challenging times. The money, when they say keep your eye on the ball, it should be on the.
Does that mean someone
service.
like you who's heavily Christian oriented would not partner with somebody who's not a Christian or who does not value Christian ethics or does not hold Christian values, put it that way?
Sir. I would partner with someone who does not have Christian values. Yes, sir, just as long as that traits and the character is a very understanding. As long as they've bought into the vision. And have understood that challenges at times, the hard times.
So in the instances where you tried with people who were not aligned to your character or to your values, what happened?
Well, we had instances where people had tried to take over the company from us. An instance where we'd had those challenges where people were trying to sell off, take our ideas internally and give them off to people. We've actually had one of our I won't mention names, but predecessors that have tried to duplicate
So how did you fight them off? How did you resist the takeover?
For me, because
I call it a hostile takeover.
A hostile takeover. It's dismiss the person as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to work with a person long term that will cause more problems. And besides that, there's already an aspect of trust that's been broken off. Yes.
All right, let's go to the next one. The importance of being humble, being down to earth, being grounded.
Yes.
You look to me like you're a very well-grounded, humble guy.
Yes.
So why is that important?
One of the mentors I follow, Patrick Bet-David, says that as long as you are cocky, forget about making it in the business arena. It's very essential for, especially startups, to be humble. Be humble enough that you still have a lot to learn. Be humble enough that you have to learn how to work with people very well and understand people's differences when building up a team. So I feel like it's one of the critical factors that one should initiate and take heed to. Yes, when obviously with some it comes naturally, with some it does not. But yeah, it's very essential and important that when you build such a company or business, you are humble, less important, than.
Mr. Donato, as you come to our time together, is there any bonus point or any juicy tidbits that you can leave the listener or the viewer with, something a little extra? I would advise people out there that this is the best time ever to be making money. I've seen people being demotivated, being discouraged that the year of 2020 is over, COVID-19 has taken opportunities. In fact, it has created more opportunities, and it has made, from my point of view, it has made certain things much easier to do. It has opened doors. I feel like if there's a time you needed to prove yourself, it's now. So go out there, do what you needed to do what you had planned to do, execute, and keep pushing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, it remains for me to thank you very much for coming to us and sharing with us. But I think the viewer, they would want to know how to reach you, how to contact you.
Yes.
And, do you have any contact details to share?
Yes, you could check my Facebook page at Donato God's Gift, Ilagan. You could send me a friend request, I'll accept it. You could chat. And also you could check our Global Education Hub page on Facebook. And yes, we could get in touch through that.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you very much for being my guest.
Pleasure.
So you've been a wonderful guest.
Yes,
do you want to encourage the viewer to subscribe?
Please do. A show such as this is very essential for you. And there are more people that will give nuggets of wisdom to actually help you grow yourself personally and also in your business. So please do and share more.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Cheers.